Hello and welcome to the Gate series. Today we are talking about Gate 20. This is the gate of the now. The Gate 20 is located in the throat center and it is part of three different channels: the channel of awakening, the brainwave, and charisma. Gate 20 is part of individual circuitry. There are three types of circuitry in your body: individual, tribal, and collective circuitry. This is also part of the knowing circuit. The gate 20 is also known as the 20th gene key and the 20th hexagram in the Chinese I Ching. Gene key 20 is self-assurance, and in the gift frequency, self-assurance is expressed as pure presence. The 20th hexagram is called seeing. So in that 20th hexagram of seeing, it's really asking us to pause, like a sacred pause, like to become the witness and observe. There's a quality of deep openness and awareness. It is important to remember that each gate that comes off the throat has its own unique voice, a way of expressing itself. So the voice of gate 20 is I am now. It is a very contemplative energy. And the throat center also, it's important to understand that it is actually it has no awareness in and of itself in the throat center. It is a motor center. It is an energy of willpower and expression or action. Again, in the gate 20, the throat center is like the final stage in the process of expressing intuition. The throat center is not aware. It has a mechanical function to speak or act, which is conditioned by awareness. So I want to pause for a moment here and just let you know that if you're enjoying this content and you're getting a lot out of it, I love to do this. And I am a human design analyst. So if you're interested in booking a human design reading with me, you can click on the link below in my description in this video, and you can just fill out your birth information. Once I receive that, you get an email with my calendar link and a pay link, and we get started. I love doing human design foundational readings, huge passion for it, and I would love to offer that to you. I'm also running a program called the Genius Activation, and it is currently enrolling for a March 20th start date. The Genius Activation is where you get to dive deep into your chart's 4 specific wounding placements and extract the gifts while being in a small group container. This is limited to only 10 participants. The Genius Activation is a 4-week experience where each week you look at a layer of wounding that leads to your genius. So you can also click on the link in the description to see what that is about. So let's look at the shadow expression of the gate 20. The shadow of the gate 20 is superficiality. So to understand the shadow of the 20th gene key or gate is to become aware of how our cognitive evolution has allowed us to become aware. Become aware of becoming aware. With this awareness, like actually being aware of ourselves, like having an ego construct, right? This thinking, quote unquote, that we have done so much, right? This is how we have these mental processes. However, it's also like our consciousness. We are also taken out of presence with our mental construct of time. Time, which actually does not exist. So, with all that being said, the shadow expression of superficiality is really that kind of thinking about us thinking. It's more of an inability to be present. It's almost like being a slave to our mind in many ways. The shadow can also manifest as busyness. I'm going to share a quote from Richard Rudd. To the extent that you are dominated by your thinking, consciousness is impeded from functioning fully. This is what we refer to in the gene keys as superficiality. To live superficially means to live within the false illusions fabricated by the mind. So how does this really look in a day-to-day experience? So there are two ways that the shadow manifests. It's either repressive or reactive. Repressive shadow experience is often driven by fear, while the reactive shadow is driven by anger typically. So the repressive expression of the gate 20 is absent. So like the opposite of presence, right? Like the opposite of the gift, really. And this fear-based expression of the shadow appears as sort of an absence that can be seen in someone's eyes. So have you ever looked at someone in their eyes and they just looked empty? Yeah, that. The reactive expression of the gate 20 is hectic. So that translates fear into ceaseless activity. So it's like running on fear, like a restlessness. Finally, let's look at the gift. The gift of the 20th gene key, or the gate 20, is self-assurance. So the way that the gift of self-assurance is accessed and experienced is through trust, patience, and surrender to allowing life to move through you instead of trying to move life. That difference is operating through the awareness and intuition of the solar plexus versus allowing our minds to make decisions for us. This is one of the foundational principles of human design. Not making decisions from our mind, rather allowing our bodies to lead with internal wisdom that is available to us through our deconditioning process, and using our body as an authority in decision making. We all have an internal energy center that is our authority, and it is something that we have access to consult with to make decisions. When we get into the practice of consulting with our inner authority rather than allowing our mind to run the show, our life is so much easier because we aren't being ripped around by rampant thoughts, which we have, 60,000 plus a day. Finally, I'd like to leave you with a quote from Richard Rudd. You begin to discover that decisions in life simply get made. So there is really no point in agonizing over them. Decisions at a higher level of frequency are made in the moment rather than being premeditated. Your mind may decide on a certain course of action, but when the decision is actually made at the gift frequency, it emerges instantly and clearly through the entirety of your being. Again, if you enjoyed this content and you are interested in getting a human design reading, I offer them. Click on the link below. I'd love to be able to do this for you. I would love to offer you a reading. I'm very passionate about it, and I can guarantee you that it'll be extremely insightful, and you'll walk away with some practical tools to implement in your day-to-day life and just understand yourself more deeply. So thank you so much for watching. And also don't forget that I am currently enrolling in the Genius Activation Program, which starts on March 20th. That is a very small group container that is limited to 10 participants, and where we look at the 4 core placements of your wounds within your chart to essentially extract the gold. Thank you again for watching.